Good morning, Azeroth. It is the 2nd of May 2025. Grab your morning beverage and welcome to the stream. Today we'll be cracking on with our bountiful delves, grabbing up some crests, pushing up our gear as we take on the underpin in days to come. Without any further ado, let's get stuck in. Hope you're all doing well today. It's the end of the week. Well done on getting through. Take it steady. Keep yourselves hydrated. You've got this. Congratulations again to Emilis in the chat on the invincible drop. Well done indeed, and glad RNG finally looked at you with favour. Here's to more drops in legacy content. All stuff for your player house eventually. One way or another. I absolutely forgot to check the Great Vault again yesterday. I keep doing it. See if we get an upgrade. We've not got many pieces left. We've only got like 1 or 2 pieces left to get to that hero level. See if it gives us an edge. Oh, and we did it for the chest piece. And it's a tier set, so we keep as bonus. Beautiful. You've got to follow through if the rogue seems to be the lucky one. Exactly. Treat them to some rogue-specific stuff as well. It's been a while since I've gone and done transmog farms myself, but all those details coming about player housing. There'll be a lot of stuff to go back and get. Which upgrade did I have for my chest piece? I didn't. Strength and stamina, or just strength? I think probably just strength's the way to go.
My thanks for your patronage.
Sure, we nab that. Excellent. Shall we do some upgrades on it?
I offer you my aid.
Takes it to the same level. Beautiful.
Fair skies and strong winds.
Get that enchant. Lovely.
What brings you here?
Let me snap up our other crests.
Be bold. Be true.
I can't use that item yet.
A little cooler today here in the UK, so a little more manageable. I'm not suddenly sweltering immediately first thing, which is a delight.
It's not ready yet.
Ooh, we have a Delver's Bounty map. I nearly forgot.
So many possibilities. Until next time. We have slept long enough. Fair skies
Yeah, will that
and
get me
strong
enough?
winds.
Should get me enough for one more upgrade.
We are united in purpose.
Which will be either boots. I think we do the boots because I do want to change the visual at some point. Oh, well, not quite yet. Ah, fair enough, Emlis. I'll take a bit too cool. I'm more of a fan of chilly weather than I am hot weather. I always find it is easier to warm up than it is to cool down. But perhaps I'm just quite biased in that regard these days. What have we got? Earth crawl mines first. Off we pop. Now, while I didn't finish the whole episode yesterday, I'm jonesing to talk about the latest episode of Worlds Beyond Number, which again, for those who don't know or are newer to the streams, it's a D&D not quite an actual play, more of a narrative dramatization. A load of sound effects and stuff gone on in podcast form. That had a... from very humble beginnings for its cast of characters to what is now all blown out war. The way it was handled on entering a battlefield with forces beyond compare was an absolute delight.
Let's rescue these folks and avoid these webs.
Aye, aye, Brent. So our main set of characters are just walking onto a full battlefield, and Brennan Lee Mulligan, the DM's describing gigantic, like, bestial dreadnoughts on one side and flying major airships into, like, luscious detail of the flagship with nearly over 1,000 crew members, arcane cannons of runes enchanted into them over the ages for ludicrous amounts of money, and how they all fired upon one of these giant dreadnoughts that will just instantly kill a character of a lower level. And how a full volley did like 5,000 damage to the damn thing, and it was like, oh boy. I know, it was just a delight. I do highly recommend that series. I don't want to get too much into spoilers, but it's a beautifully long burn. And as someone who grew up with audiobooks and that kind of thing, absolutely delightful.
Here's your take of the spoils.
I'd say May's probably the most balanced in terms of whether you get a good bit of heart, you don't get necessarily overblown. Especially the state of the world these days. It gets, when it gets hot, it gets really hot nowadays. Which I am not necessarily a fan of. Come on, spiders. Get you dealt with. Rescue the miners. Get one grapple
That's
point.
everyone here.
There we go.
Let's keep this cart moving.
I hate these little eggs. I don't like them at all.
They're behind us. Watch out.
Also continued to catch up with that What We Do in the Shadows, which I know I'm pretty behind on compared to when it came out. I am increasingly surprised at just the guest celebrities that show up on occasion.
Got your back.
Oh, for whatever reason, we're getting bodied in here today, Bram. What's happening? Taking a lot of damage. The last episode I watched just randomly had Mark Hamill. And it was like, oh. Guess we're just... I don't know if it's Taika Waititi's just connections across the industry, but it was an absolute delight. And if you've not got around to the show, I believe definitely worth watching. Again, the humor's a little dry, so it won't be for everyone.
What are you doing on my property?
Oh, shit. Why are you like this? I'm trying to be relaxed and chill first thing.
Hang in there.
Oh my god!
Me back we had, you menace.
Nope, you don't flare. I've been dodging that flamethrower for weeks now. Getting bodied by it half the time anyway. Get out of here. Too many mobs all of a sudden. Can't kick those bombs far enough. Why are you like this, underpin? There's already a bountiful delve. Or rather a map one with the bounty. We're going to be seeing him until Tuesday. That's such a small place to stand. Get those bombs out of here. Nope. You piece of shit. Thank God he doesn't spawn out when he jumps in like this. That'd be a nightmare. Spiders. Carrying the Rubian. I'll be right with you. Just give it a moment. Just get stunned. Shoot. Oh boy. Bubble, bubble, bubble. Too much overlap. I need to get rid of this spider. Away with your balls. It is a bank holiday on the coming Monday. But we'll be back to fight this son of a gun on the Tuesday. Get out. Get out. Hey. Give us another map. Can use it on the next delve. Beautiful. Right. Back to the task at hand. Hey. I do like that they randomly show up like that. I wish there were more events like that in delves, to be honest, to keep me on my toes. It doesn't have to be the pinnacle boss jumping in each time. Just more to throw me off. Again, we'll see come midnight how much they iterate on the end game pillar that is delves these days. So a lot of the discussion around the add-on philosophies, the one-button rotation, that kind of thing, which you briefly touched on yesterday. We're going back over what Ian said about the number of players who actually use, like, a damage add-on and stuff. Because that's one thing I was calling for. I want Blizzard to give more data on how many people actually use add-ons in general and what they are. I'd love to see, like, one of them, like, pie chart breakdowns of what folks use, what are the most popular. But he did say the vast majority of players, by a wide margin, use a damage meter. Which I suppose shouldn't be too surprising. Well, I don't mind it all. I think it's a fantastic thing for both accessibility, for folks trying to learn the game a little bit more, but jumping into a new spec that you've no idea about, whether that's the assistance that just highlights what button it recommends you hit next, or the full-on, it's all on one button. We know there's the global cooldown trade-off where it's just going to be at a slight disadvantage in terms of numbers, and that it's never going to be as perfect when you fully learn your class and get into the nitty-gritty of reacting within a live game environment. When you're not hitting a training dummy, there's a lot more to consider. I think for a lot of people, it will certainly help, especially when you're looking into the more very casual side of like LFR and things like that, or folks just going through the world. I was listening to Preach talk about some, like, years past, or events where he'd see a lot more of the casual players play in the game, and how few would actually use the majority of their buttons, and that kind of thing. It's always more than you think. There's always a general assumption when you're engaging with content online, the base level of a player base of any game. But it always tends to be more casual than people think on a wider scale. I think doing more on account for that. I then saw like a giant pile of news articles being like, Blizzard kills deadly boss mobs and weak auras and they're gone. Think they're acting a little too hasty, and I'm like, you fishing, like headline fishing sons of guns have missed the entire point. They're not removing anything for a really long time. They've got a long way to go, and they acknowledged that they've got a really long way to go before they get to a point of turning off deadly boss mods or weak auras, any of the combat heavy mods. They want the game to be at the point where it can handle all of that information and express it clearly on its own terms first. So I think a lot of that just almost bait articles. And again, a couple of them, when you read in and got past the title, did have a bit more of a nuance to go through of it, but a lot of folks will see a load of articles and that will be the extent of how they read their news, especially when it comes to games, because you're just flicking through so many at some point. My phone's got it where just if I swipe all the way along, it will just have a list of recommended articles based on like my history and what I've gone through and read. So it's a lot of game stuff, generally speaking. And I'm not going through clicking and read. I click and read the ones that I'm more curious about, or genuinely take me by surprise. I did see, as you were saying yesterday, Emilis, about the Titanfall 3 extraction cancellation. More than anything, again, my heart goes out to any devs who didn't get laid off. And again, the Apex Legends writer who was fired the day her character was revealed, and that's just like, ugh. You hate to see it. Potential how good or bad or genres or whatever, you know, what have you, of the game. I'm always reminded that Apex Legends itself is set in the Titanfall universe, and we got that instead of a Titanfall 3. As successful as it's been. And I saw a post that was like, oh, Might and Magic's coming back. Shit, I haven't played a proper Might and Magic yet. Oh, it's a card game. Oh, okay, I like a card game from time to time. Oh, it's a blockchain card game. Alright, then just go fuck themselves then, EA. You fired how many people in the company that have made this card game with you have already failed? And fired a whole studio for doing exactly the same thing not a year before? Bloody nightmare. They sound like fair concerns, Emilis. They sound like fair concerns. I think it's really difficult to keep the live service train going, even for the biggest of companies. There's just so many options now, and the main games that grab people, your Minecrafts, your Warzones, your League of Legends, have such a furious hold on people that it's very difficult for anyone else to compete. And to be fair, Apex is one of the ones that has done better over time, in terms of lasting power, but it certainly is a familiar song of over time we're really starting to flag now. And I don't think you could really get away with making a sequel. Not where the industry's currently at. Especially when the players you do have invested so much time and potentially money. For a lot of folks, not just playing free to play. If you don't have some form of all of the skins I bought, earned, etc. follow through with me, a lot of people just aren't going to do it.
Fantastic.
Communication in...
Let's go.
Sorry.
I always struggle to blame devs wholeheartedly. I think there could always be more communication with players. I don't blame devs for not doing so when things are so vitriolic these days. When the resources they're getting from higher up in companies are lower and lower day by day. It's like Respawn just laid off 100 people in all that, or EA made them lay off another 100 people. You're not going to get better or faster balance patches or content when that's happened. And those are situations completely out of the devs' hands, you know? That's some twat from on high. So I sympathise a lot. Don't get me wrong, that's not saying devs are infallible. I think you look at something like WoW, and despite the many changes that have been made for the dev team and a more player-focused and feedback-focused response, they still don't hit the mark all the time. But they certainly have a lot more sincerity and earnestness and not sticking to outdated convictions within the company. I know the players are right about a lot of stuff. Again, there's a huge amount of data that game devs has that players simply don't. And again, if there was more communication about data like that, I think it'd be a lot easier for folks to understand. And especially when it comes to game balance for a competitive game, there tends to be a lot of thought around, right, the folks who are talking about it online are, again, generally speaking, the minority of a player base. They're having a look at data and players all across that difficulty spectrum. and are trying to keep the game fun and engaging to not only attract new players,
I'm out of money.
but to keep that heavy casual audience that nips in from time to time. And if you focus entirely on the current grievances of your most active, yeah, you might be able to appease people, but you might not necessarily end up with a game that can keep on its own feet. Seen that plenty of times. One of my favourite smaller games that is competitive, called Century Age of Ashes on Steam. And I think now it's pretty much in maintenance mode.
Fantastic.
They still do cosmetics and stuff like that, but in terms of bigger changes, they don't really happen that often.
I need a target.
But, oh yeah, honor level is... No, nothing to worry about, Emilis. Honor level is across characters these days, yes. And you can also warband trade honor across characters. There is a bit of a tax, unfortunately, but you can trade it across characters. And on the 14th, when they have the server season boost event, all the PvP item levels going to go up. I think that's when... If I've got the underpin down by then, I'll start doing some PvP on my Death Knight as I wanted to this season. But Century had a couple of opportunities where they pushed really big sweeping changes that they thought would do better. The devs thought, oh, this will do well for the game in the long haul. But community backlash was so angry and so vitriolic, they immediately finagled on all of that immediately, like within a day, pretty much. Maybe about a week, but they didn't last bloody long at all. There was no room for people to get used to new things, to really try new things. It was just, we're angry. There was no space for new opinions to be formed or new players to come in. And it's one of the reasons why I feel like that game just couldn't pick up any steam. It's a very unique game. I really like it. You fly around on dragons and fight each other with different game modes. Good shit. It's free to play. I highly recommend checking it out. But again, that was my game like through COVID. I met a lot of folks. It was a lovely time, but not to mention the Guillermo family from Ubisoft, like having some shares in it, and those are money-grubbing bastards who have done all kinds of horrendous shit, sexual abuse, and just need to be gone from this industry. But the point remains. I always think it is more difficult than
It's too far away.
the devs are messing up this balance. You've seen that happen, I think we mentioned this yesterday as well, with TFT. That one of the game's main devs, Mortdog, has been very community forward facing. He's done streams, he does breakdowns of the patches, he talks things through, he natters with folks on social media about it. But the latest patch had a lot of people screaming, oh, balanced devs are shit, they don't know what they're doing, this, fuck it, you know. Really vitriolic stuff, mainly parroted by a load of streamers, which is always part of the problem. If you end up being really shitty towards devs, your community is going to follow through and do the same, and then they're going to be the ones sending death threats and whatnot. So Mort just a few days ago was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't have this forward approach. Because I just can't take it. And you're seeing that happen more and more with devs, even as over the years, especially the past 5 or 6 years, I think more and more companies have had their devs kind of come out and try and be more communicative. But even in the best case scenario, I think the example we used the other day was everything going on with Silksong. Those devs are just quietly working on that game. But they're still getting death threats and shit, and the game isn't even out yet. No wonder they're too terrified to actually have open communication, because people are assholes. When they think in online spaces there's no... and there is no accountability. And you just get away with being shitty to people. And then be like, oh, it's just memes, or oh, it's just banter, or it's just this and that. And it's like, fuck off. People just being shitty. It's a personal bugbear of mine. I despise it. And I think for video game devs, especially compared to a lot of industries where animators and programmers and artists can all get paid better doing the same job in an adjacent industry, it's more of a passion project in a lot of cases. Doesn't mean there's not money grubbers out there. Doesn't mean there's not someone breathing down your neck saying, hey, we need to push these microtransactions, yeah. It's not the poor bugger's fault who's creating the box over there. But no, and maybe that's just... At some point, ideally, the internet will get some more heavy regulation, especially when it comes to social media, if things are to change at all. Otherwise, these problems will just continue to get worse. For Honor is a game that... And I don't know if they still do, because I've not really kept up to it in the way that I used to. They had a weekly or bi-weekly dev stream, where in a similar way, they would talk over the balance patch. They would go through it. Warframe still does this with its dev streams. But most companies are, and especially the developers themselves, stressful enough making games and having folks talk shit all the time. Put a face to it. Well, that's the first bloody time that's ever happened. Oh no. This is what happens when I get up on my soapbox and I'm like, just not paying attention to the very dodgeable mechanic.
I'm out of range.
Oh no. I believe it. Well, it had to happen one day. Let's have a swig of his beverage. Oh dear, come here. Lady Web General. Won't be happening again, I tell you now. But it's a crying shame, because when devs do feel like they can communicate, and it's, let's be honest, safe to do so, more than anything else, it makes their decision making, even if players don't agree with it, a lot clearer. And you can have a more nuanced conversation about it without people being shitty. Your feedback can be heard. At some point, if all a dev hears about how badly their game is balanced is how they should F off and die, you're probably not going to keep reading those forum posts where someone in there has probably got very reasonable criticisms, worded in a very reasonable way. Again, I always say to folks like, just consider your phone every 10 minutes, maybe more than that, telling you, oh, someone has sent you a message. Oh, they're telling you to go kill yourself. They're telling you you're a garbage person. They're telling you everything you do sucks, and why'd you even bother? And delete your video game because, I don't know, that build, that character, that gun, that buff, blah blah, is not where they want it to be. At some point you're going to think, bugger this, I'm going to go work in an adjacent industry if I can, if I'm not going to get laid off for releasing a good game anyway. Bloody nightmare. Again, I can only hope the tide turns on that kind of thing, because when you do get good communication, it really helps a game. Even when balance is in a bad spot, dev can say, right, we hear you, but we're making this decision for these players who are not in this conversation, or we hear you and enough of you across the spectrum of players are in agreement on this, we need to change things. And here's how we're going to do that. Here's when, how, and why. We can't implement changes this quickly because of how things are built and development pipelines and all that jazz. You know, if you get a clear indication of how things can change, just having time frames on some of these things is really useful. Again, we go back to WoW right now. Why did the developers choose for this patch to split it into the Nightfall event, which again, it's a weekly event that most folks like myself will tend to do once a week? Why were the horrific visions that were tested not included on day one? Is that the nature of, we just want folks to come back and play later? Is that go away, Mythic Keystone, I do not care for you? Because that's what most folks speculate on, right? Like, it's just, oh, they just want us to keep playing. In which case, well, why not come out and say it? Because of the optics, I imagine. Was there another reason? Like, if that wasn't the reason, all the more reason to come out and tell players, listen, it wasn't ready in time. We had more iteration to do. I think folks would be a lot more forgiving. Whereas again, if the answer is just, oh, we wanted to stagger it so players didn't eat up all the content so quickly. Again, I'd understand that as an answer, but it does fly in the face of what they've said before, which is where the frustration comes in. And how they've changed with their development strategy over time. What delve are we going to next? Oh, nope, it is on the Isle of Dawn. I see you. Krigvar's Rest. Off we go. I think there's a lot of issues there as well, where, especially for public traded companies, they're answering to investors, not players. And again, that's not on the game devs. That's on the folks in more managerial positions, or a publisher up and above that. And there are so many situations that are either out of control or devs wrestling and fighting to make changes players want. Again, I go back to that Century from Ashes angle. There was a lot of stuff, from what I understand, that whether it was community teams and feedback they were taking through to developers, that was getting waved off by management. And being like, no, those players don't know what they want. Me, Mr. Fucko in charge, knows what they want. And it's like, well, that's not going to succeed, is it? And unfortunately, we're only ever going to see more of that. A lot of folks who come into those positions don't have a clue what they're doing. Or to be fair, don't have a clue when it comes to video games. They might be really good at making number go up, you know? They might be really good at all that garbage. At the business. Which, and again, sure, it is a business, but it's always those short-term goals. It's why you see a company like Larian do so well. They don't have to answer to shareholders. They don't have to answer to all that external pressure. They can just make a good game and be rewarded for it. Now, they had a real uphill battle to get there. You know, Baldur's Gate 3 didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened with Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2. The Kickstarter funding for, I can't remember if it was one of those or both way back when. And it was the quality of those games and the hits and misses they took. Which again, Divinity 1 I find difficult to go back to, because it is also just such a massive game. Some of its systems are just a little more finagly, for lack of a better term. Divinity 2 is absolutely fantastic. And Larian now has the opportunity to be making 2 games at the same time. You know, and while one of those might be very early development, like brainstorming or concepting or early writing, that kind of thing, and another might be much further along, I'm hoping one of those is Divinity 3. We'll have to see. But they have that leeway. I think even Valve can just do all the crazy shit they do. It's really shareholders. Well, now. And although it's not a game developer, Discord just got a new CEO, and there's a lot of talk of them becoming publicly traded. Which, all the nice things and how good Discord has been over the years, all that could very well be in jeopardy now. Because again, once you start answering to shareholders, you have to be making the line go up. And it's not just line go up, you know. I'm sure if you've seen, like, Stephanie Sterling's videos over the years, or even thinking back to Total Biscuit back in the day, gods, I miss him, that it's never enough for a game to be profitable, for a company to be profitable. It has to keep breaking that line every single time. It is wild to think how much investment there was during the pandemic, and how these folks thought, right, well, video game sales have skyrocketed because everyone's inside. Surely, when all this is over, they will just keep going up. And it's like, no, how does common sense come into play? You know? Everyone's going to go back outside. Everyone's going to crack on. A load of people who got into video games because they had no other leisure activity that they usually did was going to stick about. It's mind-boggling. You'd think people with so much money, sway, and ability to shift the focus of entire game dev companies had what seems to be sometimes, and I don't like being rude to people, but a bit of bloody common sense. And much of that would be avoided, but line go up, short term, such is capitalism, here we are. We'll see if the next bubble they're all gunning for, which is generative AI. Whole other thing. Like, different facets of it have been used in video games for a long time. We've often talked on WoW, like stretching the armor and helmets for different races because it's way easier and less time consuming to do that than it is to have someone manually go through and resize every helmet. But there's a big difference between that and getting AI to write your story, draw your art, create your assets, build your levels. Like, we are talking huge night and day differences. And at that point, it is the death of creativity. And the entire point of this medium, and many others. But when companies are having to, and I think oh god, I can never pronounce a channel's name. Alana Pierce, who has a channel that's like Alara Charizard, something like that. Did a video recently going through where she went and talked to a load of shareholders and folks within the industry and where things are going and how they look at investments and stuff like that. And it's really depressing for this industry. It's very upsetting. How difficult it is to get anything off the ground, to get funding, to continually get support. And how few and far between funding is and is going to be for a while for a lot of folks in the industry. Again, an excellent video that I highly recommend. If you love this industry, give it a watch. She does some fantastic work over there. I don't want to be doom and gloom all day though. It's a big month for video games in terms of releases. We got Doom coming out in about 2 weeks. Maybe I finish Avowed in time, maybe I don't. I'm really enjoying Avowed. Just big RPGs, they take time, you know. Then we've got Elden Ring Night Rain, which I am cautiously optimistic about. Like, I'm probably going to end up playing most of that solo on stream. Maybe, as I say, after a few streams in, we will open it up. Other viewers, do a shared password, that kind of thing. See how we get on. But the idea of, especially folks who joined the Soul series at Elden Ring, being able to see other bosses from the franchise and be able to fight them within that framework, I'm very excited to get stuck into. And again, it is built for free players, but that's not stopped me before. We'll see. Maybe it'll be an absolute shit show trying to play it solo, but I'm hopeful. And that Claire Obscura Expedition 33 game that came out is doing really, really well. Even under the shadow of the Oblivion remaster drop, it's still doing fantastically, which is awesome, and I really look forward to getting to that. It'll probably be a little bit after. I think the timeline's probably going to be Avowed, Doom, Elden Ring, then Claire Obscura. Probably. Rumour has it, GTA 6 might well be coming out around the time of September. And you thank Skill Up and his weekly news videos. Some of the info here, but Randy Pitchford, ridiculous, silly man. Main fella behind the Borderlands series. And someone who just needs to be not on stage or talking to people. Because, my God, if you know some of the history of him over the year, it's a bloody nightmare. But this company, when you go to the tippy top, is owned by the same folks who put out GTA. And they have brought Borderlands 4 forward like a 10 days, 11 days, around there. to like September 11th. So there's a lot of speculation, and Randy has come out and denied this, but of course he would. That GTA 6 may be coming out in that time frame. You know, late September. He may well deny it, but surely the fella knows at least some kind of time frame. That seems like a reasonable assumption to me.
Grab one of those enchanted
If the publisher doesn't want to cannibalize one of their games with another one. Maybe they do, maybe they don't care, but don't necessarily want to ruin a load of sales of a game. Randy aside, the Borderlands series I've enjoyed, I guess. I played a chunk of 1 and thought this is good, but never finished it. Played a chunk of 2, thought I'm somewhat enjoying myself, never finished it. It became a lot of map markers and endlessly looting of guns in a way that always fell off for me. Tina's Wonderland, like the D&D fantasy one. Actually, really, I finished that one. That's some fantastic stuff going for it. I really liked the class design. How all that interplayed with the guns. I thought that was really cool. Free, I got on sale, tried, got a chunk of the way in, but I think as with many, at some point the writing just was beating on me way too much and I couldn't deal with it for any longer. As much as I was enjoying the gameplay. And Borderlands 4 looks like more Borderlands. There's been a lot of thought given to, oh, we're not quite where we were in terms of writing. It's not going to be quite as what's the word? I don't think it's quite obscene, just I think this is one of those times where we can actually use the word cringe and it means something rather than just be like cringe. Now, people use the word cringe for fucking anything these days. And I don't mean to immediately drop an F-bomb, but it drives me bloody balmy. Cringe is nails on a chalkboard. It's someone doing something embarrassing and you getting second-hand embarrassment and going, "Ooh," sending a feeling down your spine. It's not just, I didn't like what that person said, that's so cringe. Ugh. Language changes. That's something that's only really come up in the past, like, year or two. It was me nutting. Oh yeah, let's not mention game sizes. 100 gigabytes, you're like, sweet Jesus. What is Call of Duty these days? That's nearly 200, isn't it? If not beyond that, if you're including all of it, it's a nightmare. There's only so much hard drive space in the world, and having loads of it's a luxury. And especially with so many live service games, I think that's another thing that any of these ridiculous high-ups, management and CEOs like, oh, we need to make a live service. You're like, well, people don't have the hard drive space to install another one. They got 5 more. Games that want them to be playing every day, religiously. Or even just the games they want to play with their mates. Like, oh, I keep this game installed because once a week, me and a load of mates jump on and have a good time. If that is Call of Duty, yeah, around the 200 gigabyte mark. The idea of, I'm going to uninstall this to install something, to uninstall and reinstall it a week later, people won't bloody do it. Yeah, maybe this is where like stuff like GeForce Now and the whole like Microsoft on Game Pass, the cloud streaming stuff comes into things a little heavier. Maybe now we're at a point where they will all succeed where Google Stadia famously failed. Because again, from what people say about GeForce Now, like I had a family member of mine say, oh, I watched your Avowed stream and I have Game Pass. So I just booted it up on their cloud one and started playing it. And I'm like, that's awesome. For several reasons, that's awesome. But it was like, on a more casual audience base, if folks are going to be trying games and playing games like that, that's really cool. Now, Game Pass aside, Microsoft has, as of like yesterday, upped a load of their prices in response to a lot of the other shit going on in the world. At least Game Pass is a solid deal. But it's cold comfort when everything else gets so pricey. Damn it. Full boat. Beautiful. More candle. Thanks, Bran. Oh, I did it again where it bugged. Usually these underpinned ones despawn other enemies around them. Sometimes, just sometimes, it doesn't. Because screw me. Ow. Ow. Okay, we am down, we'll be alright. Get out. Beautiful. And he's the last group of them as well. No. I think when it comes to that point, my main point for getting onto the GTA thing, most publishers, maybe to a lesser extent smaller publishers and indie devs, are going to avoid the catastrophic event for their release calendar that is GTA 6. Vast majority are going to avoid that, unless like maybe you're targeting a completely different genre, but even then, we're probably not going to see any DLC come out, any big events or content updates. It seems unlikely, even if it's a completely different genre, because people just don't want to be anywhere near the blast zone. So I reckon that'll be a good month or two to actually go back, and whether that is get to Oblivion remastered or get back to some of the other stuff I've got in the back burner. There's always stuff on the back burner with loads of shit. But we do have the Summer Games Fest next month, and who knows what's going to be announced, what secrets Jeff may have in store for us. Because that's the point where I don't think GTA would be necessarily an announcement there, because they don't have to. They don't need a big event to say GTA is coming out. They can just say that. You know, it's big enough to stand on its own feet in that regard. But at the very least, by that point, we might have a release date so others feel more comfortable. I'm sure Jeff, behind the scenes, is, you know, talking with a lot of developers, putting that together. He probably knows when GTA is coming out. Can't say it publicly, be under NDA, but that means he can organise and pick what's happening elsewhere. What games we might get to see. Because you never know, there's always surprises. It's always unknowns. And he does try to get some nostalgia bait in there. Like, there was a lot of hype around, what's the franchise? Legacy of Kain. Like, people adored that franchise. And they were very happy to hear of like a remaster. And then nobody really talked about it. Apparently that remaster did not do much. And people were a bit upset. But it just kind of faded out of the news zeitgeist. Which is a shame, because I was really looking forward to the opportunity to give that series a go, but if the remaster is just kind of meh, then it wouldn't necessarily be a good showing to get me into the door. Well, we'll see. It's not high up the list. I'm always hoping something great. Like, Capcom are doing so well these days with Monster Hunter and Resident Evil. I'm like, I need some old Capcom fire. Where's Beautiful Joe? Anyone remember Beautiful Joe? He loved that series. Had a great time with it. It did so well at a point they had a Smash Brothers knockoff. It was great. Piano Free, there's another one, played on the GameCube. You were essentially robot model ladies in robot suits, doing dance moves and shooting lasers at other robots. It was really difficult, but it was awesome. I don't think that franchise has done anything other than languish. It's a shame, because I'd love to see a modern take on it. You take maybe some inspirations from Bayonetta and go, like, just lean into it more. I'd love to see that. There's always an argument to be made, though. Surely we should be making new IP and not just picking up the dregs of stuff from years gone by. And I feel like it depends how often an IP is getting used. Now, speaking of shit companies, Warner Brothers had on Steam a sale for their Lord of the Rings games, and it's like Shadows of series, so Shadow of War and Shadows of Mordor, which are excellent games. Microtransactions for the sequel aside when it launched, excellent games. But Warner Brothers, what about Battle for Middle-earth? 1 and 2. Why can't you re-release that shit? Can't you officially put that out so I can play it and do multiplayer again? It was so good! Like in that golden era of RTS. Fresh off learning what StarCraft was, what Warcraft 3 was, playing a bit of Age of Empires. Some Cossacks. And the Lord of the Rings one, which was just beautiful. No, you have to pretend they don't exist, you scumbags. Drives me nuts. I want that game so badly to come back. There is like a team working on like a... I think someone recently put out a modded version of the first game with a load of work done to it. And someone's been working on the sequels mod for many, many years now. But again, it's a passion project that someone's doing in their spare time, so time frames are always going to take absolutely ages. Let alone if a publisher doesn't one day come down with a cease and desist and just shit the bed on all of them. Which I would expect from Warner Brothers. To be fair. It always just sends me into that nostalgic spiral, for lack of a better term, for that age, though. In games I played, there was a Robot Wars game that I still have the disc around here somewhere. You custom build your own robot, go through, fights to kill a lot of the house robots, go through your own championships. They had local play, where you could have like 3 people on the same keyboard. If you all huddled around it, some poor bastards on the num keys. Oh, that would be great. I'm just on a nostalgia trip now. Lego Racers. Gods, I loved Lego Racers. Sequel was garbage, but Lego Racers, the first. Absolute bloody delight. Oh, and I go from nostalgia into like... I talked a while back about other companies coming in for Blizzard stuff when it came to like StarCraft, and they're going to do something different with StarCraft. Maybe they get StarCraft Ghost back up and running. Maybe they do something else in that universe that isn't an RTS. Oh no, it's Nexian. And if you know the company name Nexian, you know they tend to just cram shit full of microtransactions and butcher games long term. Ah, sadness. I don't need Overwatch Mobile. I do not need a StarCraft Mobile. Some gacha auto battler bollocks shite. I don't need it, thank you very much. But I can't imagine Nexian will do any more than that. Generally, so I'm sure there are some exceptions with their games. I don't know if it's them who did that first Berserker Kazan or published it. By all rights, that's another game this year that I want to get back to. That looked really good. The reviews were really solid too. Oh, I think LEGO games being a guilty pleasure is more than reasonable because they're excellent for the most part. Like that full LEGO Star Wars collection, the LEGO Lord of the Rings collection, all those do real well as well. The building stuff, I tend to be... Like, they put that one in Fortnite. I don't remember if I tried. I don't think I tried it, but I was more curious than ever to actually download Fortnite to be like, oh, a LEGO version. You say, oh, well, maybe. Oh, hang on. It's Ashka. I can just take the portal. There was something so satisfying in LEGO Racers of building your car, and every time you put a piece down, there was just this little click noise. And then if you wanted to undo putting a brick down, there was like a reverse click noise. Can't really make that sound. I was like, rather than the block coming down, it was just pulled it back. It was really good. One of those little things that just tickles the back of your brain. It's like, ah, good noise. I liked that. Again. I see a game like that being made nowadays, and half of those bricks and colours would be a microtransaction. 2 of the levels would be sold off later as deal. Oh, what a place we live in. What a world. What I think we're seeing a lot more of the praise when stuff's coming out and being like, do you know what? This feels like a PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, Xbox and 360 era game. And it being such high praise. Because it just feels like video games being video games. Without huge amounts of monetization. Without feeling like they're trying to nickel and dime constantly. Which again, I don't think there's many developers who get into this going, oh yeah, how much money am I going to get? Because none of those bloody extra earnings, very few of them tend to go to developers. Even on successful games, they're all getting laid off. So it's not like they're really benefiting from these things most of the time. It's like when you see like the solo dev or devs who were formerly under a publisher breaking out and doing stuff on their own. Stuff like Balatro and stories like that. Or even stuff like, what are these? There's the Reaper one that's come out in recent months. The Schedule 1 people are in love with. There was... What was that first one? Where folks were going around and putting crap in a spaceship and running away from monsters. Can't remember its name. It was a horror thing, so I didn't touch it with a barge pole. But people adored that shit. Where it's small teams or solo devs. Just doing the work and getting rewarded for it. And it's harder than ever for folks in that situation. There are so many games come out. It might not feel like it. Especially between the bigger AAA releases getting fewer and farther between, it feels like. But I can't remember the statistics off the top of my head, but it was like every week hundreds of games come out on Steam. Something like that, and you think, surely not. And you go and look through the chaff and you're like, oh boy. Again, that's what flies in the face of the passion projects and dev stuff, is folks trying to do a quick asset flip on the one hand, and folks just making their first game on the other hand, and they've used maybe RPG Maker, and you see there's like 12 of those this week. And they all kind of look the same. Who's going to take that chance? That dev gets the experience and then goes on to do their Balatro. Or what have you. That's still a game on my backlog, that. I'm not a fan of poker and like gambly card games. I'm not. I've played all sorts over the years. Like, my mother every holiday was like, right, let's play Chase the Ace, let's play Queenie, let's play any of these other card games with a ridiculous name. But when it comes to actual stuff like poker, I'm just not about. And I know Balatro isn't really about that. I know it's not. And I love a roguelike. It's just, would I play Balatro over something like Hades? The answer's no. But, again, doesn't stop me streaming it for a week. Give it a go. Find out. And I know I'm going to enjoy it. I think that's part of the reason I'm holding off, because it's like, I'll get into it. I'll be addicted to it. And then no more Good Morning Azeroth. Good Morning Balatro. Till the end of time. I should do a shout out here. A little bit on my weekends, I've been nipping at a game called Wayfinder. It's made by the folks at Airship Syndicate. And the artist, Joe Madriana, I think? I could be getting that wrong. I mean, he's the fella who like created all the Darksiders characters and designs. And they made a game called Battle Chasers some years ago. That was pretty popular. Turn-based RPG. They did that League of Legends Ruined King game. And, oh, Bram, we got bodied for a moment because of that nasty... Oh, Pay attention, bro. Oh, no. They were working to release this game. It's kind of a third-person looter RPG run. It's really hard to describe Wayfinder. It's got a very, very clean, not quite cel-shaded. It's that art style that's not quite Fortnite. It's like more fantasy Fortnite. Those cartoony character designs. But it's a really good-looking game. And they were the first game that the Warframe folks were doing some external publishing on. And it went so badly that the folks over at Warframe and Digital Extremes closed their publishing wing. Because they were essentially trying to make Wayfinder free to play. And the dev team there was kind of following Warframe's blueprint because of how successful it's been. And it just really didn't work for them. So once they went independent, and they kept going with it, they changed the entire loot system of the game. They cut out all of the monetization, the fixed price. You pay your 15, your 20 quid, whatever it ended up being, and you get all the game. And all of the stuff that was microtransactions, whether it was for the player housing they've got in there, whether it was skins or mounts or any of it, all got rolled into the base game as stuff you just find as you're going out through dungeons and expeditions and bosses. And suddenly, it was suddenly way more fun to play again. And it's really awesome. And it's not a perfect game. It's certainly a double A. It's certainly got its jank. It's a bit grindy in spots. But, especially I imagine if you played through it with a few mates, it's a really enjoyable game. And hitting the end game of it now and just going through the loop of items to find, stuff to build. Like I'm slowly accruing a horde of items for my player house to eventually customize. I'm just like, I'll customize it next time because if I get a few more levels in this reward tower that used to be a battle pass but is now free, there's a cutlery rack. I can get that in my kitchen. Oh, there's a new pet I can fit in my home. Yeah, I can see I see this working out. And keep pushing it off. And some of the bosses in that end game are pretty difficult. And you have to respect the mechanics of the game, where early on it feels very spammy. But at that point in the game, none of those tactics worked. And it was really fun to see how far through they went with it. And they kept patching it, and they kept updating it, and they added a harder mode, they added a hardcore mode with some unique rewards. You get through without dying, and I'm like, the game's still a little bit jank for me to do that. There are just a couple of instances of a little bit of jank where hardcore is probably not on the cards for me. I'm sure someone who plays it enough and is dedicated enough could figure through that. But I find hardcore quite difficult in general anyway to come to. I never liked the idea of, and all the stuff you spend anywhere from 5 to 40 hours on to 1,000 hours on is gone forever. Goodbye. And I'm like, nope, I can't. That's too much. But install EVE Online again. No. For Wayfinder itself, I highly recommend checking it out. Maybe slap it on a wish list for a Steam sale, you know? And I know that's kind of a hard recommendation to make with so many games coming out, with so many games in everyone's backlog, and everyone on a Steam sale being like, how many Steam sales have I bought games for under a £5? I got 20 of those. I've not played any of them. And it just building year upon year.
Fantastic.
But I do want to give them a shout out because I really like that studio. And I really like the work they've put out over the years. I really want to see the Darksiders franchise come back again. Because they did the top-down one with Strife and War. Which a lot of people were like, oh, this isn't a proper game for Strife. To which I kind of responded with, he's the gun-shooty character. I don't think there's a better way to do it with him than to give him a top-down shooter. But I know what people mean. They wanted the third person in the same way as War and Death got. Blizzard, please.
Nice fight.
Because that franchise I still holds a really special place for me. There was something about it that I really enjoyed. I remember the day Darksiders 1 came out about the same time Bayonetta did. My brother got Bayonetta, and I got Darksiders. When initially, we both kind of wanted to play the other one, but we just gravitated in the opposite direction for whatever reason. And I adore that. It's so extra and over the top in fantastic ways. It's having fun. What I mean by video game as video game. And Darksiders 2, I loved Death. It was fantastic. This dry wit of a snarky bastard the whole time. Fantastic. I think that game was a little too big. Just they went more in the open world vein. And you can tell they ran out of development time and resources. This was around the time especially when THQ, who published, were going through the bloody ringer. And you can see it, like, you get Area 1, Area 2. Oh, these are big, they're expansive. Area 3, oh, suddenly we're corridors. The Demon and Angel bit, but the Demon bit less so. The Demon bit was pretty alright. The Angel bit was like a few corridors. And then a smaller area. If memory serves, I might be butchering that in my memory. But the setup at the end of Darksiders 1, and yes, Everlist, it is so good. As he ends that game, he breaks the seal on the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and 4 stars rain from the sky, and you're like, oh shit, we're gonna get some kind of 4-player. And even if we don't, just 4 horsemen swapping between. Even Darksiders 3 was solid. I don't think it quite hit the same levels as 1 and 2, but it was still solid. Raph was alright. He was voiced pretty well. I think that was that voice actress's first go of it. Just in video games, I can't quite remember. I remember watching some interviews in the back of my memory somewhere. Darksiders 3 was still fun. And again, the one with Strife. Pretty fun to play. And that was War as well as Strife. One day, they get to that game, the promise, after the credits of the first game. Because that's the thing. The one with Strife was set before that. The one with Death was set in parallel. And the one with Wrath was set in parallel as well. So they still haven't done the sequel they baited so very long ago. I hope they do one day. If nothing else, someone gets a hold of that IP and manages to do that. Maybe it'll be one of those projects we don't get for years from now. Like another decade. But dear God, it'd be nice. Come here, big fella. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've never got left 7. If I get those 4, where's the boss door? Down there. How many more underpin fellas do I need? 1, which is you there, judging by that gold pile. And there's a prisoner there. Let's try not to pull that spider as well, Bran. No, we're gonna pull it. No, keep moving, we're not. Turn, there you go.
Look around. There's treasure here.
You lie to me about Bran, what are you doing over there? God damn it, Bran. Oh, now you come running over, you little shite. See, now we're getting bodied by webs again. No, I've been on a bit of a nostalgia trip this morning. What games out there, whether that's folks here live or folks in the comments later, what game franchise are you like, oh, I miss it so much, I want it back? Or I haven't played this in a long time and I really should. Like, what are the things, the nostalgia trips that you just yearn for in those quiet moments? Never enough to actually break the weekly cycle of what you're doing, but hoping for a sequel or hoping to get back to. I still want Fire Emblem to go back to its roots. I'm sick of it being a dating sim. I know people love it, and I've gone on this rant before, but I missed it just being a ragtag group of mercenaries who, yeah, sometimes some folks would get in a relationship there. Sometimes there'd be a little bit of romance, but it wasn't the bloody goal of the game. It wasn't the main marketing point. That's a fascinating thing to hear, Emlist, because I have absolutely no knowledge of Roblox apart from third-hand informations and horror stories, either from folks covering the games industry or folks who have told me later. But what about that old one then? What was it there? Because in my brain I try and think, right, whatever base Roblox was, in my mind it must have been some kind of, judging by the name alone, something Minecraft adjacent and community created content. Obviously it's gone off to spin off something that Fortnite is now aping with an in-game, what's the word? An in-game lobby of building different games together. And even if they are really I think Jeff Gerstmann was talking about it on the Gerstmann show a couple of weeks ago, where he was like a relative of his, a younger kid, was talking about a knockoff Call of Duty in Roblox, and Jeff played it and he went, and this game was shit. It was just a really bad shooter, but this kid loved it because it was within Roblox. Pardon me.
Fantastic.
Ah, I see. Too far off the money then. To be fair, I even think back to Minecraft when I paid like, God, less than $5 for the little the pop-up executable. That was just, it's night and day from where we are now, from what I understand. The Lego Ninjago knockoff. Aww. I love to hear that though. It's the spaces and where one, as you say, grew up with these things. What was the day-to-day where that nostalgia was birthed. And I find that always a fascinating story. Oh, it's interesting to hear, as someone who loved it back then, that you are also of the opinion that today it is something that you can look upon with disgust. That I think that probably speaks to where they're at more heavily. And if not, that's almost more upsetting in a way. Because it's like, if you did have such love for it, to see where it's at now, for a variety of reasons, I'm sure, it's a little heartbreaking, isn't it? I think more of the nefarious stuff aside, just when something gets so big and popular, the inevitable money-making machine's going to have its ringer with it. It's the unfortunate reality for a lot of stuff. Like we were just saying about Discord. Hey, something's so great and nice and community-driven, and it's going to go to the shitter. More than likely, going to shitter. Ah, exactly, Emilis. Again, even if we know that's where the state of things are, it's still a shame to hear it. Always leaves me wondering what the next crazy big thing out of nowhere is going to be. Because you simply don't know these days, and I think that's the fun of it. Whether it is all those like co-op games like Repo, or the Oh man, I'm trying desperately to remember the name of the one before Repo that everyone was playing. I know you all know it out there. Everyone knows what I'm talking about, but... But when a game comes along and just captures community zeitgeist, and there's an element of streamer bait to it these days. Not that necessarily a game or their developers are gunning for that. But it tends to be if, like, Schedule 1, I think, kind of came out of nowhere and then a load of people started streaming it and then suddenly, boom! Fantastic for the dev. It just seems so random. And it's a lot of luck. Who's to say that without COVID, Among Us would have done so well for itself, you know? That game came out way before COVID. It was like years before COVID. And then some folks started streaming it, and suddenly bang! And now that company can help fund other indie games, and they're being really awesome about it, and that's fantastic. And I think that's fair enough, Emless, and it's still, despite all the negatives I hear, to hear that there's still folks doing the good work is, you know, some solace against that. I think we can take what we can get these days. Nope, no webs, thank you. Nope. Poison beam. Focus up a moment. I don't just want to get wiped again. Back on that goddamn minecart, but I still can't believe that happened. Tiny bit spicy, but we're alright.
Don't go dying on me.
I panicked. I panicked. I said tiny bit spicy. I looked over to chat, like, oh, we're fine, and then bang! That's twice today. Apparently I'm gonna need the bank holiday Monday. Jesus. I don't lose my crests unless there's only... There has to be at least one life remaining, and then I get my crest. Here's me week after week, asking for more mechanics. I think today's an outlier. Usually I'm fine. Usually. I think it's because there was like the green lines in front of me, there was a green line behind me, and then the circle, and then I was like... My brain went, you could probably hit the bubble button, and my fingers went, we should probably hit the bubble button. None of it reacted fast enough. Oh no. This is a little bit... I feel like I'm cornering myself again. Let's move out. Maybe if there were just a couple more mechanics, I'd get even... I'd have to lock in a little more for these end of delve bosses. And I wouldn't be making easy mistakes. But then again, on the Undermine, I am standing in the fire a lot. Much as I try not to. That piece of garbage. Bam. Like, in theory, if these green lasers and I walked through them also one-shot me, that'd probably be a big problem. So I'm having to run through them to get away. I think if they created an actual physical wall, you know, like you can't run through this space. Or if those puddles didn't disappear. That's not adding more mechanics, it's just making the ones that are there more difficult. I would be truly boxed in here and dead, and would have to really consider what's happening. I'm trying to almost play it like that to a degree. Nope, not when that's happening. Nope, run through the poison. Maybe if I ran through it, it left a dot, but I'm playing Paladin, so that wouldn't matter too much. Come on. I nearly did it again. I looked at the boss, I looked at chat, I then looked back. Oh, green swirly. Nope, not today. Oh. Lovely stuff. Let's get our treasure, Bran. There's our delve quest. There's all our crests for the week. I don't actually think there's any reason to do the 4th delve at the moment.
Stronger by the second.
Other than getting Bran some XP. GG, Bran! What a level. Can't tell by clicking on him there, because well, why would I be able to, I suppose, Gabe? Oh, it's the bot brawl again, is it? It's a good one to farm on her. And I think the gearing situation for PvP these days tends to be crafted gear, war mode gear, honor gear, then conquest. So getting straight into honors probably, especially with the bot fit, pardon me, is going to give you quite the leg up. Back to Donegal. How am I doing for conquest and such? Not conquest. Oh, my valor and all that is locked up. We are at max capacity. What about over crests? That one's maxed. That one's 2 off maxed. The other 2 aren't because, you know, you can do mythics and stuff for those. Could do some upgrade. Oh, hang on a minute. The list isn't available at the moment, is it? Oh, it is! Hang on, let me get rid of the gear I do have. Because I would like to save the catalyst ideally just to use on a hero set. But I'll be honest with you, I'm getting sick of these spiky shoulder pads and I'd like to unlock the transmog for those fancy lions.
I have an extended supply of goods
Oh, it's so full!
for Outlanders.
It's so unbelievably full. Maybe over the weekend, I just jump on and have my enchanter clear this out. Start getting gear around the alts, because it's just becoming untenable. I should deposit some money for my alts as well while I'm here. There you are. Merry Christmas.
My directive has been...
Then all these are soulbound, so I can sell all these. Any hero. That was hero, but I've got better. Oh. Damn, this one has a socket on it. That's probably really good then. To the auction house.
My directive is to serve you.
Right, what one did I have on it? I had leech. Hang on. Better leech. Oh, there are some delicious Dragonflight PvP
Return
sets.
and peruse my inventory again.
It's alright, you'll earn marks of honor doing bits of PvP. I'm pretty sure the Dragonfly PvP stuff is all available for Marks of Honor now. Go and see by Militia in Valdrakken. He's great, fantastic. Ooh. What's this trinket? The harmful spells and abilities have a chance to drain your target's electrical power, dealing nature damage over time. If it dies, you gain move speed. Strength is the same. I think the stats are probably better, unfortunately. As much as I like lightning-based stuff, the stats will be better. Need a gem as well. Wow, gems these days.
To be reasonable.
Gem. Strength, probably. No, let's just do gem in general. There we go. Don't really want versatility. I don't quite understand these Algari ones. You have to have more of the gem. Also, this is laid out in a really confusing way. Primary stats probably the way to go. I mean, that 2% of something is something. A little bit more movement speed helped me during that fight. Again, those are PvP ones. $181. They're 181 as well. We do the one with a tiny bit of move speed then. It's something.
My thanks for your patronage.
Boop and boop. Get that upgraded. Right, you gem. Get in there. Lovely. It's a good upgrade. I can only have one Algari diamond equipped. Where's the other one? Wait, what? Algari diamond. Oh, I've got one in there. Son of a bitch. How do I unsock it? How do I unsock it? Oh, have I just fucked myself? Oh no. Panic.
I
Game.
have an extended supply of goods for Outlanders.
I thought you used to be able to right click and unsocket something. Searching the auction house to remove gem. No!
My directive has been fulfilled.
Crap, what was the other one? Where's the other gem? I just saw it. Why can't I find it? It's in a ring. It's in a fudging ring. I have just shafted myself and wasted a socket. Oh, maybe if I just buy another gem.
My directive is to
This might not work. Maybe if I just buy another gem and put it on top of that gem. It's all Algali diamonds. Where's the non-diamond then? Is that just something that tool crafters deal with? Do they get more than just the diamonds? Oh, shit nuggets, this is a nightmare. I can't believe we've done this.
Return.
Grab a mastery one. I wouldn't worry about the honor level itself. It was just a reward. Like, by the time... When that system came in... Okay, it does destroy it. Alright, fine. Whew. Bit gold wasted, but that's alright. By the time they introduced that change to that system, it was when I wasn't playing the game as much. So, all the PvP I'd done in the past didn't mean shit, because it didn't retroactively give you all those honor levels. I won't worry about it. Oh, for the artifact weapon. Oh.
Honor to me.
An aspirational goal, Emilis. An aspirational goal.
Good health to you.
You'll get there, you'll get there. It's just another treadmill to run.
It is a world of wonders.
Excellent, get it all the way there. Beautiful.
May you find
Right, let me just, before I upgrade anything else, let me swap these shoulders over. Because again, I want to get rid of these spiky goblin bits. If I replace them with set gear at some point, that's fine. Now, will I get the red colour as well as the blue colour? Or, I don't know what level it changes. Okay, it's the fiery red one. Fancy lions. Then can I upgrade them enough to knock them into the next colour?
I will do my duty.
Aha! We can as well. Very nice. A fancy rogue hat. Fancy purple mage here as well. Oh, people's transmogs. Gotta love it. A hero bit. We can probably do the chest piece. Yes. Nom 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 nom. Boots near. We can probably do another bit of hero something somewhere. There we go. It's a chunk of my tokens up.
If needed, I will answer the call.
May we all find
Still a little bit of goblin-y, and the boots do need upgrading, so they swap from the red to the blue as well, but we're getting there. They are quite nice shoulder pads as well. At some point we'll get the mythic version. Right, there's one more delve to do. I'm fudging about here, but there is one more to do. Swig of his beverage because my throat is screaming at me to shut the fuck up. Well, nicely done. So many wonderful PvP sets all over the place. I wish PvP and leveling through battlegrounds was more feasible. I really wish they just gave way more XP for doing it. Because at the moment, they're not encouraging people to try PvP whilst leveling. They need to have that XP be a lot higher. I mean, I'm sure with the current, like, Winds of Fortune leveling event, that helps. I can't imagine those bonus... Yeah, quests and kills in the Dragon Isles and Khazalgar have a chance to give you the satchel. If Battlegrounds had a chance to give you it as well, maybe that'd encourage people, but they do a terrible job of actually getting people to PvP in this game. Which is a crying shame, because I'd love more people to PvP, because then maybe they'd put more dev time into it. I'm hoping once Delves are really in a solid place, and they've got that... the pipeline for how they continue to work on Delves really ironed out, that there can be a bit of a focus on PvP again. over time, helping by updating the visuals of Battlegrounds is good, but there's a lot more that could be done. It sounds a bit brute. Oh, hello, doggo. Gently paroling around. Paroling? Patrolling, that's the word. It's a different thing.
Found a bit of gold.
Oh, thank you, Brad. There you go. Look out, Bran. The uh-oh's gonna get you. It doesn't seem that bad for 35% damage and healing increase on Bran. He's certainly in the underpin attempts. He's only actually gone down once or twice. Comparatively pretty good. The Shaman's a fun one to PvP on, by the way. It does mean a bit of a necessity when it comes to totems, just because of how much they actually influence the battlefield is pretty impressive. So that annoys me, but I love just chucking thunder at people. Or on enhancement, just slapping thunder on people's faces. It feels so good. Her lunge ability to just suddenly wolf at someone's pretty fun too. I wish I'd gotten the Dragonflight Elite PvP set for Shaman. It was a lovely colour of that wolf set. But alas, I did not stomach solo shuffle at the time. And as I said last season, I wish rated battlegrounds were more reasonable in their reward structure, because at the moment there's just no point to do them compared to solo shuffle. It takes way longer, the margin for error is so much higher, queue time's higher. And the variance is
Bran's got your back.
really shitty in a way I didn't like. Like if you were playing any capture the flag mode and the enemy team had a monk and your team didn't, and that monk knew what they were doing, that flag's gone. You're never catching them, you're never catching the flag. GG, it's over. Even if, and if you go back and look at some of the streams I did there, even if you know what the monk's about to do, because you've seen it happen 12 times now, and you're prepared for them, you're trying to catch them out, you're following where the Transcendence is hiding. You get ahead of them, you try and put a big ice wall down on the door. You're slowing them, you're on it. Doesn't it bloody matter? They've still taken that flag to the other side of the world.
Nasty.
Again, when it's not a capture the flag one, there's more to be done, but it didn't feel good. And I really do prefer battlegrounds to arenas. But once we started doing solo shuffle to get the rated sets, it was night and day. The speed of progression there. Even not winning loads, it was pretty reasonable to get to 1800 for the full PvP set. And again, if I wasn't streaming and was dedicating way more of my time to it, all the more so, you know? And then you add on add-ons or actually talking to people in chat, unlike me. Likely would have helped even more.
Nice fight.
No. Shitty poison. Why are you like this? Oh no. Oh no. Bad, 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 bad. Double bad. Got it. I hate in this game that we as player characters can be in lava and acid and all of that and take loads of damage, but enemies don't seem to. Unfair. Unreasonable. Licking my shins, you piece of garbage. Perfect. How many more nemesis? About 2. Here we go. See, it was doable game. Ran just off the side. Pop, pop. It says I can dispel that robot, but it's a magic effect. I can't actually dispel it. Right, where am I going?
Look around. There's treasure here.
You always say that, Bran.
It's too far away.
It's not that kind of treasure. And then, yep. Bonk. Bitter bismuth.
Let's have a quick sick day to recover.
We're fine, Bran. No, I don't need the buff you're going to give me. I don't feel the need, even on tier 11, to fight the specific rares. Cause again, silly today when bosses have killed me twice. That's stupid error on my end, not because I need all the help I can get. Wish they had more silly powers to make me OP, but again, maybe that would make it a poor thing for being an endgame pillar, as it were. Can't go full Torghast with it. I know we didn't find all the underpin dudes, but I can't remember the last time one of their chests gave me a load of good shit. The map ones that do it. And they certainly don't seem to drop a map in those chests. No! How was the rare got pulled? Shit. Well, probably should have killed him anyway then. How did he get pulled though? Unless Bran somehow shot back. I don't know. That's a bloody mystery. Now we actually have a problem. Now we have a pretty big problem. Okay. At least it makes it a little spicy. Thank you, bro.
It's too far away.
There you go. Take our damn buff then. Over here. Oh, we juicing. Let's see. Says Brad as he dispels me for being hit with that one. Oh, bless him. Ping noise that this set bonus makes, by the way, to let me know I can just fire off my ability repeatedly is very useful. More sound design on the class abilities, please. Very nice. Or just something that they can keep going forward. Down you go. Lovely jubbly. That's the reason I do 4 of them, so I get 2 item level 649 slots on the Great Vault. And there's coffer. Note to write home about. Oh. Complete the Delver's journey before Season 2 ends. Can you go back to it somehow? That indicates... Or maybe it's just that it's then gone. Yeah, because Season 1's obviously nowhere. You can go talk to Reno then. I think I got a new warband camp, actually, with that. I have to investigate that after the fact. We'll hand him a valise anyway, give us more of them coins.
Brings you here?
Get your half-stone voice.
What can I do for you?
Yep, the Nightfall Sanctum campsite. New login screen. Beautiful. Let me check that out. Cultist's Quay. Ooh. Now, the thing is, because the on-hour overlook I liked, but the camera was just zoomed out enough where it annoyed me. Does that mean that this warband camp screen is missable? Or can you buy it after the season for an increased price? Curious.
The answers are here.
Yeah, Brant, give me my chests. Thank you. Beautiful. So, Finley, what have you got? Dirigible stuff, which, Transmogs I've mostly gone. A few bits and bobs here and there. I think my set isn't quite where I want it yet. I want to get it upgraded a bit more. But as a comment on one of my shorts said at one point how much they enjoyed the shake wake of the goblin sword I've got, I should probably change it, even if it's just the sword for now. Pick pick the new shiny Arathi one. Pick the blue one from the trading post. I'm not a fan of skulls, although it's a nice looking sword. What else goes? The blue version of the shake weight. So at that point, we've got a grey glow, a red glow, a blue glow, and then more red glow. I probably want to pick a different glowy effect. Ridiculous dragonflight sword. It's so big. It's obscene. I like it, but it's obscene. Maybe a bit of obscene's alright for now. But you know what? Until the boots change, let's keep our silly shake weight. Why not? It's part of the journey. Until we beat the underpin, we are in hodgepodge mode. Oh. Of tendies, lest we forget. Nah, I have plenty of time left on the month to get the rest of them tendies. I know it's Children's Week, but I'm not about the events that much. Alright. That said then, folks, I will say thank you very much for watching. Oh, hang on. Let's have a look at that new login screen before I do my sign off. Let's have a look at that login screen. I need it to be zoomed to about this point because it works really well for the shorts. Apply. Right, little zoomed out. I like the big waterfall, I like the boat. I just want more going on here. Like, if I go back to Adventurer's Rest, it's the little campfire. There's so much more personality in this one. Let me see my other ones. Alright, where are you lot? You lot are in that one. All their different transmogs. Let's pop you to the cultist one. Yeah, you look like a group of cultists, don't you? They kind of do, apart from the hunter. I'm actually kind of impressed at the three of these. So very specific on theme. Then a midget over there, just purple. Not the other one. Are they in the Anaran cat? I think these all just have green. They're all green. And I think that worked out okay. And Margaret and Bayonetta are just kind of chilling. And nobody else gets a warband camp. Nobody. I still got someone labelled. 2 characters labelled as Pandaria Remix that I haven't logged in on since. Poor bastards. Dearie me. With that then, folks, thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed yourselves, don't forget to hit that like button. Help push the video through the algorithm so more folks come hang out, play some games with us. Subscribe for more content here on the channel. On the weekdays, we're at 9 AM GMT with World of Warcraft, and between 4 and 6 in the evening, we start up with other games. You can find playlists to all the other stuff we've already covered right here on the channel. We'll be off on Monday for the bank holiday. I may do an evening stream. It depends how busy the day gets come then. And this evening, the idea is to start Avowed closer to the 4 PM mark. And then after 3 or 4 hours of Avowed, jumping over to do a quick Monster Hunter Wild stream to take on Art-Tempered Ray Dow, because I've been looking forward to fighting the beggar. I'd like to do the first time on stream, see if we can get him down. So until next time, folks, much love, take care, enjoy your weekend, and bye-bye. Oh, congratulations again, Emilis. Best of luck in your collectathon. Take care.